Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So in this one, we're going over some hot off the presses OTA decks. And, well, this is kind of funny, what we're starting off here with. So if you watched yesterday's video, you heard, hey, they're going to be nerfing Destroy, and well, there were a lot of people in the comments saying, hey, don't nerf Destroy, hey, don't nerf Destroy. Well, if you're one of those people, you are probably real fucking happy right now, because the nerf to Destroy was apparently making Hulkbuster a 2-3 instead of a 3-5. That is definitely one of the decisions of all time. I think in almost no world is this actually a nerf, and as someone who had cut Hulkbuster from my list a long time ago, I think it's actually worth including now as a 2-3. It's much more flexible and doesn't run into the issues you previously had where Destroy has a lot of 3-cost cards, so it would make Hulkbuster kind of awkward and more as a backup plan for Deadpool if you didn't happen to get some other ways to boost it up or blow it up earlier on in the game. So yeah, I think this is actually just a strict buff, and it's very funny to me that this was their intended action on a Destroy nerf. Going to be very interesting to see how this ends up impacting the deck, but for anyone who was worried about it getting worse, I don't think you have to worry about that, at least with this patch. Part of the justification in the Hulkbuster change was they did want to keep the card relevant for move decks, and in those decks I think there's a reasonable chance it just got better. Move decks got a ton of buffs here. This actually is going to be featuring 3 different buffed cards from this patch: Spider-Man 2099, Hulkbuster, and Heimdall. Both 2099 and Heimdall making their way up to 9 power, so as high as they can be, but just under that Shang-Chi threshold, and 2099 going to a 5 cost. This is kind of a weird change in my opinion. I don't think it solves the issues of the card. Does it make it a better card? Maybe? I don't know. It seems kind of weird because now you basically need to play it into Heimdall or play it on the final turn with Ghost Spider, or I guess weave in an Iron Fist on 4. But the extra stats are nice. Is it enough to save this card? Probably not, but it's at least warranting a little bit of experimentation here, in my opinion, if nothing else for a bit of fun. And it sounds like it might not be the final change, but they don't really know where they want to go with this card, so in the meantime, we get a bit of a stat adjustment, so interested to see how this pans out. Move has gotten a ton of buffs overall. Like, it's actually crazy if you look at the amount of cards that have been buffed here over time. Ghost Spider, Dagger, Doctor Strange, Buster, Spider-Man, Heimdall, like literally half the deck has been buffed, so maybe there's a little bit of move copium we can enjoy here. You could also consider one of the other recently buffed move cards in Hercules, but we actually have another move deck that's going in a bit of a different direction that tries to make use of it. And that deck is Phoenix Force. So Phoenix Force has always been kind of a glass cannon, but really fun when it goes off. And I figured, why not experiment with a little bit different of a late game package here? So now we're including the new 2099. We're using Hercules as a way to bounce the Phoenix Force around multiple times, and Heimdall for kind of the same thing, being able to get a bigger payoff for getting our Phoenix down and spreading it out throughout the board. The thing about Phoenix Force is it is kind of hard to fit everything you want to fit into this deck. I think there is at least one card that's not in here that I would like to be in here, whether that is just another cheaper move activation like Doctor Strange or something. But I think the real big one is giving us another payoff for bringing something good back with the Phoenix Force, whether that's something like Human Torch or Dagger. I do think it's possible the deck might want to find space for something like that, and there really are only a few things that are reasonable to drop for that kind of thing. And there, I think the answer lies in something like either the Hulkbuster, the Nico, or more realistically, maybe the 2099, but I really wanted to try 2099 out in a list like this, because if we do get the Phoenix Force combo going, it is decent stats for cost. It doesn't take up a bunch of space on the board, which is relevant with the Phoenix Force, filling up a lot of our board spaces, especially if we're going to be going into Heimdall on the final turn of the game. It also gives us that Ghost Spider or Iron Fist play on the final turn alongside him, which again, not taking up too much of the space on the board, so we can fill those spaces with our Phoenixes. And then we have Ghost. This one feels super duper out of left field. Ghost is acquiring that coveted 3-5 stat line. She is kind of in that same boat as 2099, where they don't really know what they want to do with this card. And they know she's not the greatest, she's not the worst, but she really hasn't succeeded super well at her old stat line, so they're trying her at a new one. And 3-5 has generally been a pretty good stat line. We've seen things like Polaris, Spider-Man, Viper. 3-5 is generally pretty premium. It's essentially costing in a downside condition. And I think that's pretty reasonable in Ghost. Now, previously, losing priority was really, really bad when Alioth was a big part of the meta. But Alioth really isn't a big part of the meta anymore, at least not in my experience, and Shang-Chi and other reactive tools are a lot bigger part of the meta, so I think Ghost actually might have some merit in something like Surfer in order to help insulate you from threats like Shadow King, or to help ensure you're getting that proper value out of things like your Killmonger. This is a more low-to-the-ground Surfer list. This has been kind of my favorite Surfer list that I played in a while. Originally had Dakin in the Ghost spot. It's possible he could still be better in this list, but we're trying out Ghost, seeing how it goes. I do very much like the 3-5 stat line, and as someone who's always enjoyed Ghost, even though the card has never really been that great, I think if it is likely to find a home, this definitely could be one of the places. And then the other place I thought Ghost deserved a consideration in is this Thor Control style deck. This one comes from Safety Blade originally, and if you haven't been paying attention with the updated Sarah Control builds, it's basically Sarah Control, but you're swapping out a few cards for the Thor Beta Ray Bill Jane package. And surprise, surprise, the core of Sarah Control is really, really powerful even without Sarah. That's really what this deck is trying to do. We have a lot of ways to put points on the board. We can go wide with this Marvel. We have ways to react to our opponent's threats with Shang, Enchantress. Zabu's got us covered on mana. Shadow King for more good tech. Scarlet Witch to shut off the Limbo. Mobius especially helpful in that Sarah matchup. Just a very good flexible deck overall. Playing it, the only thing I really found issue with is sometimes you take priority when you don't want to, so we're going to be experimenting with Ghost in this list as just another solidly statted 3-drop that helps us avoid taking priority so our opponent can't easily Shang-Chi or Shadow King our big threats in Thor or Beta Ray Bill, and to guarantee we're getting the most value out of our own reactive threats. And last but not least, we have Luke Cage making his way to a 3-4 that is also getting his global effect back. So he's going to be affecting all lanes once again. It seems that the change to making him impact only one lane was a bit too narrow. I think everyone kind of saw that coming. So now he's being tested as a 3-4, and we have a Hazmat deck to try and take advantage of that, alongside High Evo and Man-Thing to inflict a lot of negative power upon our opponents, reduce the cost of our Abomination. We have Shang-Chi as a reactive tool to neutralize big threats, and all of our threats are staying in that smaller power range, so we don't really have to worry about the tech our opponent has as much. I played a deck like this about 2 or so months ago with Werewolf by Night and really liked it. Unfortunately, it seems kind of hard to find room for post-nerf Werewolf in this list, though I'm sure you could do it if you really want to. Maybe you axe the Shang-Chi reactive threat or one of the other 4-drops. But this is the way I'm going to be trying it out. And that's going to wrap it up for our 6 new decks to try with the cards adjusted in today's OTA. As always, links to the decks will be in the description if you want to grab any of them to put into the game for yourself, but let me know what you think of the patch and what you're going to be trying out in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.